decided the fact is I wanted to do something in India. Okay, build software for India in India, right?
Setting India as the fashion capital to the world.
How important the first job is.
The job chooses them, then they choose the job.
Money is the last thing where the person leaves the job for.
Somebody who is himself a college dropout, but because he became a YouTube star, cannot teach people how to upskill.
To do AI machine learning versus cyber security. And I said,
Vishwakarma Institutes, we have a set process about setting their short-term and long-term goals.
look at what is your strength. Don't look at what others are doing. I don't think today there is a notion of a job guarantee.
They have to work on the internal and the external roadblocks, getting more connects, stabilize things.
They come back, complete their internships. We tremendous change in their personality, and again, companies are very happy with that. Like they get day one billable candidates on the first job joining.
Parents love you so much that they will do anything for you except let them be yourself. So when you choose colleges for recruitment right now, so how do you choose colleges?
See,
It's a HR branding activity. Product owners there, they say these guys are useless.
as is just a fact is we hired a CHR only last year, the 13th year of existence. We hired our first HR manager after 8 years of existence.
Expectation for commitment is a higher salary, and tier 1 college also you will have a tier 3 student.
Actually focus on the story of the candidate beyond the books.
IIT and IIM, they've also diluted their brand.
The people with more hunger are from the tier 2 and the tier 3 colleges.
Colleges also have to kind of say, this is my distinct USP.
One thing that I was astonished when I started working with Vishwakarma is, so the guy who takes up the elective is the one who comes to the center of excellence. The guy who comes to the center of excellence is the one who attends your interviews and is the one who becomes your intern. And then the intern eventually becomes your employee. I like to call it decision dilemmas, when there are two equal opportunities, both are good: job stability or new opportunities. Focus on developing technical skills or soft skills. Emphasize on networking or skill building. Prioritize high salary or job satisfaction. Hey, hi, welcome everybody. Welcome to season 2. So, in this season, we're trying to talk specifically to the fresh graduates and also early graduates who are trying to do career planning, who are trying to do what they should do, how they should plan, and all of that. So, we are going to have guests from different walks of life within corporate who are currently heading organizations or at leadership levels, and then they will give you insights into what needs to be done, especially if you're in college or just out of college, or you're in the first 2 3 years of your career. So that is what it is. So today we are going to kind of talk about career goals. How do you set up short term versus long term career goals? And we have with us here, I'll start with you, Vishwajit. So give a brief introduction about yourself and then we go from there.
Hello everyone, I'm Vishwajit from Vishwakarma Institutes, Pune. I work there as a training and placement officer in career progression and placement cell. I've been with Vishwakarma Group from last 9 years, and it was really nice journey. About Vishwakarma, it's a 40 years old engineering institute. It's autonomous one affiliated to Pune University, and it's very different engineering institute. I would say it's a trend setter, and it's one of the unique institutes in Maharashtra, Pune, which offers semester internships, industry projects, industry electives, and center of excellence and other facilities to the students. Thank you.
Cool. Ram, who is the Chief Strategy Officer at Perfios, want to hear from you about your journey and a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Thanks for having me here. It's good to have a conversation on how to do, how to think about your career and planning. Okay. I don't think we had this kind of conversations when we started my job 30 years back. So I have totally around 30 years experience. Currently board member and chief strategy officer at Perfios. I've been with Perfios for the last 14 years. Uh, and overall started my career as a software developer. Did my masters from Pune University Computer Science Department. Okay, way back in 1994. Uh, and start went through my career growth as a software developer. Around 6 years, worked abroad in Australia, US. Came back to India. Came to Bangalore. Worked as a grew in the career from a lead to a manager to a delivery manager, practice head in Astic Software, which is an outsourced product development company. Then decided the fact is I wanted to do something in India. Okay, build software for India in India, right? Okay. Early days, so my couple of the co-founders from Aztec had also moved out and they started Perfios software. Okay. We just started as a B2C company and then we kind of have grown over the last 14 years. We've kind of pivoted today. We are a large B2B company. Uh, so I came in 2010 as a head of engineering, but then in a 15 people company, you literally do everything, right? All the way from making sure you're either opening the office or closing the office. If you have visitors, you're making tea, coffee. Okay. You do digital marketing strategy, you do the presentations, you code. So in the last 14 years, we've grown from around 15 people to 1500 people. Okay. We just early January, we became a unicorn where we crossed a valuation of post $1 billion. Okay. We are probably the largest B2B SaaS in India. Okay. And 90% of revenue comes from India. So most of the SaaS companies in India are serving US and Europe. And in the last 14 years, in this whole journey, I've kind of played out all possible roles as a head of HR, okay, head of engineering, head of product management, legal, right? Looked at customer success, looked at customer operation, being a salesperson without carrying numbers, but ever, okay. But inherently, from that perspective, and also we kind of realized that we are small, so which means that we are not going to attract the best of the talent from the market, right? So we decided to bet on campuses. So the last, and we've been hiring people from campuses on the last 10 years almost now. And that's something which is really paid out because for the people graduating out, okay. And I would say to a large extent, initially the target was people who are willing to take a risk, who wanted to do something very different, a bit hutke in a sense, right? That is what we got lucky with. And we have had people finishing now. I mean, I think our first batch of 2015 is finishing 10 years now. Yeah, right.
Okay. Fantastic. Nice to hear. You've been a head of HR as well. That is something interesting that I did not, delve deep into. So, yeah. So, Rohit, a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rohit Naidu, currently serving as a Chief Executive Officer at Ifortis Worldwide and also working on few more companies as a board of director. And here, throughout my journey, I have worked in the area of promoting the self-reliance among the women and the youth across India and few more countries. And throughout my journey, I had the privilege to work with few of the boards or few of the organization that works for the empowering the labor and employment in India and few other countries. So apart from that, I was able to work with the Ministry of Manpower Singapore, and also I was able to launch few more projects for the upskilling for the workforce in India. And here, the mission started with working on, setting India as the fashion capital to the world. So in order to achieve that, we have to be more technically sound. So basically, I come from the textile background, and as a professional life, and focusing on the IT as a blend, we were able to set up the tech-driven fashion company, which is going live soon. So throughout the life, like we were able to work with young professionals from various university with different culture, and getting to learn more about them on a daily basis apart from the work which we do with the professionals across the countries. Here, the best part of working with them is you can feel the energy which you can experience from the professionals whomsoever we are working with on a daily basis. And so my mission is to take them along with us in this journey of setting India as the fashion capital to the world with the tech-driven fashion approach. And also in the upcoming days, we were planning for the few programs which will benefit the society. That includes the beggar eradication program, where we can offer employment opportunities for the people in need, starting from training in collaboration with the NSDZ and few more skill development centers in our country, and providing a livelihood. Then later on, moving on to setting up few more, the enhanced workforce or the work culture for the blue collar employees. So these are the primary focuses we have when it comes to the labor and employment in India. And for youth, like we are specifically targeting on how we can change the culture of working. It's not actually the work which they're doing, but it's something beyond that, which actually, when the purpose actually meets the passion. So that's what we are trying to cultivate for the youth in India, so that together we can, work on the current mission of the Modi ji, Viksit Bharat. So that's what our goal is.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thanks everyone. So I wanted to, kind of start off, in terms of, setting short-term goals for these fresh graduates. So, right now, if you look at colleges or graduates per se, right, their short-term goal is to get a salary of 10 lakhs or 15 lakhs. That is the only short-term goal. But that looks a very, very, kind of high level thinking, but doesn't, get into the nitty-gritties. And for them to help set a goal, I wanted to ask you, Ram, I wanted to understand what should be the short term career goals for a new graduate entering into the job market. What is a nice way to start off?
See, I mean, obviously, if you look at short term, I'll probably look at a couple of years as what is short term, right? Okay.
Okay.
And so, like we talked about it, 2 years in a 20 years career is 10%.
Yes.
Right. So I think see, actually, recently there was a post by one of my colleagues from yesteryears, right? Shashank Sinha. Okay. He was a campus recruit in 2007 in
Mm-hmm.
Aztec, right? And he had posted the fact is how important the first job is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right. In your first job, I mean, like the choice of the job. Okay. And how do you kind of spend your time in the first job? Because to a large extent, is going to define how you build your professional career. Okay. What do you learn from it? So I think the aspect in a short-term perspective, I think the first 2 years, which you right, is about learning as much as possible. Okay, right. Uh, and I mean, obviously, in our profession, learning is a constant process. You continue to learn every day, right? But the fact is, if you learn skills about how to do your job well, okay, because at the see, all of you come in, all of you are at the pretty much the same starting point. Okay, you may and in a good organization, typically the people that you work with are also equally well distributed. Right? It's not that some team is good or some team is bad or some leaders great, some leaders thing. Right? Okay. So what comes in is how do you kind of spend a lot of time learning. Okay. Don't end up being a 9 to 5 person. Okay.
Got it.
First thing is because typically that is also this thing. You also and incidentally in many places you still have a lot of time in your hand. So you should then learn other aspects which makes you better at your part. Uh, Colleges will teach you a lot of skills, but they will not teach you practical skills, right? The second aspect is depending on your profile, right? Personality. If you think about engineering students, okay, I mean, I'm sure they are a lot more better now than we used to be earlier. But mostly the word used is geek and nerd, very introvert.
Got it.
So they don't have typically the social or life skills to be able to articulate their ideas, thoughts, and all those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, and so there is always this combination of substance and form. I mean, you need to have substance, but at the same time, you also need to have form to present it effectively.
Got
So
it.
I would look at these two things, learn as much as possible. Okay. Leverage the opportunity because at the end of your first year, okay, which might still be largely because it's typically 6 months of, I mean, I feel like at our place, right? People come in July. Okay. 3 months of intensive training.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, technical skills, soft skills, behavioral aspects, right? Which means that literally you get another 6 months of work experience. 3 months after the first 3 months on training, another 3 months on the job, on the team that you're assigned to, you're kind of getting to know what to do. Okay. And by the time you come into the last 3 months of the financial year, you're at the appraisal cycle. So there will not be too much of variance in terms of your grading, right? But the second year, at the end of 9 months, there's already clearly there are people who are seen as being more capable, okay, who get slightly more complex tasks to do, okay.
Mm-hmm.
uh, and there are people who are said, okay, this guy needs a lot more work, person, right? So which is where it is. So the what typically starts happening, the differentiation starts happening in the second year of employment, and that then sets your career objectives within the organization, okay, right? So I think that is where l- maximize the opportunity in hand, work hard, learn, and then after definitely have build your other aspects of life saving skills, okay, and then also have fun.
Okay. A follow up to that, Ram. So I wanted to understand. So you said choosing your first job is very critical. Is it, first thing is, most of the fresh graduates, the job chooses them, then they choose the job. One is that.
Hmm.
Second part is, with limited information, what kind of things that they should look at when they are choosing the first job.
See, I mean, I'll tell our story, right? I mean, we have kind of grown in the last decade or so,
Hmm.
correct? Okay. Um, so if you if I look at the fact is, all of us have to differentiate ourselves. Okay,
Hmm.
you can be either part of the herd, or you can be part of the, or you can be the lone wolf. Correct.
Got
Okay. Hmm. Which is the part. Now, if you look at the part, as most of us, I mean, the campuses that we went to, okay, some of the top colleges in Bangalore, we were competing with the likes of your Google, Facebook, and even a TCS at the same time. So different segments of company, right? Like an Adobe or a part, right? Or even let's say Flipkart, okay, or a Byju's and other things, right? Okay. So we had to position ourselves to say that what is it that you get as an experience, right? So the part was you get to see, you get to learn. Okay. There's a great, I mean, there's a decent amount of work life balance, okay, good amount of it. But the chances you get to be, you're not going to be doing some small piece of work or doing a maintenance. Okay. We clearly said that you're not going to be part of a 100 people team. You're in some corner, okay, in the pyramid, in the bottom of the pyramid, no one knows who you are. You're at the best going to be in part of team of 15. Okay. Right. Which means that you're going to carry your weight. Okay. You're going to get to learn things. Okay. You'll be challenged. Okay. Right. Which is a part of it. So that became a this thing. So we differentiated ourselves in the way that we wanted to attract talent. Okay. So for I mean, today many of the campus guys they look at the. So I would say simple is understand first from your seniors. Okay, what is the work culture? What kind of work is there? Okay, look at the fact is if your seniors are switching jobs within 2 years, or your senior, super senior, all those things, right? And as to why are they switching jobs? Because the I mean, most common people think is compensation, but usually, if you see, and all of us would have gone through in our life also, right? People, money is the last thing where the person leaves the job for. Okay, there are other reasons where the person starts thinking that this is not the right place for me, and then when they start looking out, they find that they can get better compensation. And the manager, when at that point of time is when he's trying to tell a person to stay back, is he's then negotiating on compensation. Okay, now from that perspective, talking to your seniors, super seniors, okay, understand the nature of work, understand what do you want to do, how much do you have ability to learn. I mean, also the fact is we have done in this past, we've had people come in from engineering who have moved into design. Okay, we have had people come into support who have gone into testing, from that gone to development. We've also had people in support who've come in and gone to sales. Okay. So there is a certain amount of ability to even figure out that you can switch roles, right? Okay. Because you might, a lot of times we may not, we may make, I would say, education choices based on our parents
it.
than what we think we are best equipped for. Okay. Right. So I think what is the intent? Some people might even look at the fact is I want to just work for 2 years and then do either a MBA or a master's, India abroad, right? Okay. Hmm. So that also then, so some of those things also start factoring into your decision process, right? Has that been effective? Has the reference of the college or the work which has been done helping your application? Okay. Do your CEOs give reference letters when you're applying abroad? Okay. These things come into play. So I think best form is like anything else, right? Whatever we might consume from online influencers, like I always say, there is always your chacha or a mama who's an LIC agent, right? When you start your job, he's the person who's selling you the first policy, correct? And you're buying it from him because there is a reference. Okay. Trust the instinct of your network, trust the instinct of your uh, seniors in college and all those things, right? Understand from them. Okay. Then choose as to the thing. If you want to be in a large, because if you're trying to be the lone wolf, right, it is tough because your parents, they've seen more of the world, right? They want to make sure that you get into a stable, large company where your job security is there. Okay, but if you want to, if you say the job security is not something that is most critical for me, but I want the experience, okay, and I want to grow faster, I would say then you should look for early stage companies, startups, and others.
So, interestingly, one point, even if your parent is a professor or an HOD of an organization, right? I recently came across somebody. So, the parent is a professor, a HOD in a college, but this guy in a commerce college. But then this candidate is a engineering graduate. He has got a campus offer from TCS, and outside the campus, he has got interest in Cred. So Cred has, shortlisted him and has told him, "Ki, you go and get yourself certified as ethical hacker. Then we'll take you." So this whole process takes about 3 to 6 months. Parents are like, don't leave the job. Take up TCS, go inside. Once he takes up the job and goes inside TCS, what do you think will be his appetite to this thing, and how does this parenting kind of affect the immediate goal setting and all of that?
See, honestly, I think it doesn't beyond a point because a lot of the behaviors is driven by a peer groups, right? Now,
Mhm.
incidentally, this one of my college friends' son reached out to me because my college friend is in basically, he's in Delhi, he's in a government department, right? So he says, I don't understand enough tech all, just talk to me, right? I asked. So he wanted to know between data to do AI machine learning versus cyber security. Okay, which is an interesting point, right? And I said cybersecurity. There's a lot of increasing demand. There are very few skilled people in the market. Okay, right. So this is basically been that whole notion of doing somewhere where others don't usually do. It is risky, okay, but it depends on this level of safety net you have, which is about, right? See, within an large organization, what will happen is, see, I'll probably give an example of Mumbai train, local train.
Mhm.
Okay, correct. You get used to getting on the train. Okay, you have to get up early in the morning, get to the station by 7:30 or 8. You get in this part. Okay, wherever whichever you're going, you know there is a rush. You have to get in the rush. Okay, you don't have too much of space to wriggle. You fit in. Okay,
Mhm.
and you somehow survive the 40 minutes ride. Get out. There's a whole rush of people. You have to also make sure you get out of the station, not miss your train. Okay, so the part at a lot of times in large organizations. Okay, there again there are different roles, different opportunities. I mean, if I look at something like Philips or ITC or some of the Godrej and all this, right? Their their programs are very different. They take a lot of campuses, but then they put them through different departments. I mean, especially this holds true for MBS, right?
Mhm.
Okay, right, where they put them through different departments and give them, and then figure out where are they best suited for, right? But on the technology side, again, here also now, if I look at, a lot of things are changing because many of these companies also start realizing that they're losing a lot of talent, right? Okay, they are not able to attract the talent as earlier because job safety is not such a pressing requirement early in your career, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so people are looking for that differentiated experience, but within large organizations it is possible to get lost. Okay, you may not get you may not get kind of exposure. Okay, you may not get stretched, you may not get challenged, correct? Because in that part it's a factory. Okay, so there is a process, there is a way to do things. you'll go through this part. But even in those organizations today, now they have separate departments which focus on innovation, all those things, right? It depends where you land. Okay. But the chances is 9 out of 10 you land into the mainstream production line. Okay. Which means that you operate like a largely a factory worker. That's why you'll see all these people at the end of 2 years are desperate to get out. Okay. Do something different.
By the time their DNA gets set in, right?
See, 2 years is not a bad duration. Okay. I mean, like if you have that, see, there are settlers and then there are seekers. Okay. The ones who are seekers will always find a path to find their path even within those organizations. Okay. Or they'll say, I need to go explore something else.
Fantastic. So Rohit, wanted to kind of follow it up on you. So, like say long term, a candidate starting out of college right now, right? Somebody who's finishing his engineering in 15 years time, I want to be where Ram is.
Hmm.
That is my long term goal. But today I need money. So how do you balance between this short term goal of money and then long term goal of growth and learning? How do you manage that?
So everybody wants to grow big. That is their long-term goal. But there are certain people who think over the purpose of their life rather than focusing on like what is given and money, which is at the end of the day it's nothing. But also it's everything in today's like to meet the present day-to-day needs. But in current situation, like to have the short-term goal, the people are focusing much into the money just to focus on stabilizing their position, and in future they have a clear goal, but half of them lack the the journey, the roadmap. So if they can clearly walk on the roadmap, like think of their journey as a map where they can at this particular period of time I'll be reaching this step. For that, what kind of actions I have to take, so they can stick to money, but at the same time if they have to reach there, they have to invest on certain properties like their skills, which will be benefiting to reach up in that position whichever they're aiming for. So they have to invest wisely and think about throughout the journey they will get debated as well. So this sticking to the money, or the I mean the revenue growth shouldn't affect their long run. So here they have to pursue the self discovery process rather than at the point of time the candidate will end up switching their goal itself. For example, like to become a chief strategy officer in a company, and a few category people, they will be like, I need to become that, I need to become this. So they will forget the purpose why they started this in between the journey. So self discovery is much needed. So here this will enable them to understand what and all, I mean, where they stand today, and where they want to go in the upcoming days, and with the network, like as you have mentioned. So the mentorship from the right set of people, from time to time, it's like watering and taking care of a seed which we have planted, and slowly it's growing, and what shape it has to grow. It's like a tree. So currently they have to focus on stabilizing, then focused on empowering themselves. Then the future goal, they need to understand what is the power of the position they are actually getting into, the goal, the value of the goal, and what and all they can do with that goal, and how many people are getting benefited, like what kind of community have been served. So this will help them to reach the long term goal in a very proper way. That's what I feel.
So now when I'm starting a career,
Mm.
so what should I prioritize that will help me reach my long term goal? Which is, what do you think is the way that I prioritize my short term goals will also help me in the long term goal?
For example, if a person dreamed to become the head of sales, so he should also understand the business. I mean, without the product knowledge, he can't do the sales. So technically, he should be sound. At the same time, the soft skill do matter when we are doing the sale, the presentation, and everything. So here, the candidate should be investing on the skills whichever are needed and stay up to date in the market. And rather than doing what other people are doing, he should always try to innovate some strategy in building the better portfolio. So that's what the priority should be, rather than doing like what others are doing, because at the end of the day it will get bored when we do the same thing like others. That's what happening in today's world. So the innovation is always welcomed, not only in our country, like almost across the country, I mean across the globe. So if they invest wisely on the innovation, this will help them to set their own brand, the livelihood, and it's beyond whatever the imagination, the position that they have dreamt of. So they have to invest in themselves to innovate. That's what like that's the identity that they can leave throughout the journey.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thanks. So, I wanted to, again, come back to Vishwajit. Okay. So, help me from an academic perspective. How can a student differentiate between a short term and a long term career goal, Vishwajit?
Okay, well, at Vishwakarma Institutes, we have a set process to guide students about setting their short-term and long-term goals. Okay, so it starts with the first year and that goes till final year. So basically, it's not a one-day process. Like you sit with the mentor and you drafted your short-term and long-term goals, and you acting on that. It's a gradual process that develops over a period of time, and as you get experiences, you learn from your internships, you learn from your projects, you learn from your classmates, you hear your seniors, your alumni, hear to the leadership talks and all. So that adds value. Students understand their skill sets, their limitations. They link that with their aspirations, and end of the day, they form their short-term and long-term goals. So career counseling is a prime importance at Vishwakarma Institutes. We have a set process there. Like we conduct number of induction programs for them through the industry leaders to industry experts. Then we call our alumni. So that's the best way to guide our students basically, so they can interact with them. Basically, any alumni comes to college, so he would like to tell their story to the juniors. Okay, so the students understand like where they have started and where they are now. Okay, so they start dreaming, they start working on their dreams, their skill sets. Every year we have an induction program. Start of the academic, we conduct the induction program, and every year we conduct goal setting seminars, goal setting workshops for the students. So I would say short term goal is like to learn a new skill, to become expert in a particular skill. Say, let's say for a computer science or IT engineers, having a 4-star rating on some coding platform, that's the short term goal, I would say. Then after graduation, getting a good job, getting a good company, getting a good job profile, and obviously good salary. That's everyone's dream. That's a short term goal, I would say. uh, and again to continue in that job for 2 years, to grow, to get appraisal. Long term goals, all want to become a leader in the market, in the particular industry. So that's their long term goal. For the generation, their goals are something different. Everyone wants to become an entrepreneur, wants to start their startups, wants to a leader in that industry. So I think that can be a long term goal for the students after 10 or 15 years. But now there is a question, like what should be the ideal duration of the short term and long term goal. So like previously it was a 5 to 6 years as a short term to achieve some short term goals, and like 15 to 20 years to achieve your long term goals. Like it used to have to build your own house, to have a car and all. But now the generation start of the career, they're having their own home. They are purchasing the luxurious cars and bikes by getting loan. They go on family vacations because of their wealthy parents. So their aspirations are something different, not the money, but of course to gain a good position, to gain a name and fame in the society.
Got it. It is very interesting. So, for Gen Zs, especially, short term goal is anything 2 years. 5 years is long term. So, anything you talk beyond 5 years, there is no certainty that the world is going to be the same way, and it is changing so fast. So, and plus, they want things to happen faster, not just because 15 years back when we started, it was slower. Doesn't mean it would continue the same way. And uh, the whole thing is that I feel companies that adopt how to handle Gen Zs will only survive. The other companies will get lost in the race because you will be dealing with you know stale thoughts of the older minds. You need fresh thoughts coming in always, is what I kind of look at it. So, and after talking to students, they have much more risk taking and they are much more, tech savvy than, all the previous generations. So, Ram, wanted to come back to you. Okay. So, I wanted to understand. So, when setting career goals, right? So, like say, career goal is probably a long term goal. So, what are the pitfalls that they should avoid? What are the key things that they should look at?
See, I think the every person is unique in
Hmm.
who they are, right?
True.
Right. So, which means to a large extent, I would say first pitfall is FOMO.
Okay.
Okay. Right. Focus on what is it that you do, right? Okay. Because, I mean, you could be, as simple as right. You may be terrible at math,
Hmm.
right? Or you don't just have the head for numbers.
Got it.
Okay. Inherently, beyond a point of time, you can't be in a finance, you can't be a sales guy because you have to negotiate, you have to track your numbers beyond a point of it. Okay, it all comes into the part, right? So that's this thing. So which means that look at what is your strength. Don't look at what others are doing. Then look at the fact is where do you think you want to get? Like I said, right? See, because I mean, if I look at it, if I look back 30 years back,
Hmm.
I don't think I had a vision to say that I'll land as being a board member in a company, right? Okay, it was at the best. Like you started with the fact is which was at that point paisa banana hai.
Mm.
Right? And the fact was probably I think I got lucky because I had a I'd learned Visual Basic and Visual C++ way back in '94, and I got pulled out of my induction program for a client of ours who was in Australia.
Hmm.
Okay, so which itself kind of set me apart. And the fact is, within 3 months of joining, I went to Australia on a 6 weeks assignment. Okay, right now that's I mean I don't think it was something planned, but it happens that. Okay, so I would say look at what is the part. You obviously, and today there's a lot more information. There are a lot more aspects, right? And I think the other part we have to realize is more and more on the longer run, there are going to be more entrepreneurs who are self-employed, okay, than salaried working class. Because if you look at corporates and all those things, right? I mean, there are some of the technology which are coming up which are disruptive. It may work, it may not work, okay, but it will reduce the job. If you look at the part in software industries, software industry was taking away jobs from banks, insurance companies, right? Retail outlets and all the stuff, right? Which is now the jobs from software industries have been taken away by machines. Okay. So which means that relying on the fact that I'm going to be having I mean if I look at my parents, right? My dad. It was one government job, central government job, right? For 58 years, 35 years, 38 years of job guaranteed. Okay. I don't think today there is a notion of a job guarantee or a job safety.
Mm.
Okay. So you'll have to also start building skills that helps you survive and thrive. Okay. In which case, which means that you have to look at your peer groups, you have to look at your seniors, understand from them. Okay. So and a lot of it is about observing and listening initially because you can form ideas. Okay. But those ideas have to fit into who you are. Who do you want to be? Okay. There's always a school of thought which says that determine what do you want as Everyone starts with the fattest again, until unless you're born with a silver spoon, right? Even someone born with a silver spoon probably needs a titanium or a gold spoon. Okay, the aspirational ones. So, which means that their wants will always be there. And realistically, if I hear it, probably somewhere around your 20 years of your life is where you get to the point where you have financial freedom. If you're able to get your financial freedom in 10 years or 8 years, you're lucky. But on average, statistically, people hit that point of being safe financially, right? Uh, at around their early 40s or late 30s, right? You will have, hmm. So, which means you have to try. I mean, that is where you'll get to, right? So, this part of it. So, look at what is it, where do you want to get to, and be open to change, right? You can't, I mean, because as you learn, you will find other things interesting. Okay, I mean, and also be aware of who you are. Okay, upskill yourself, right? I mean, I think after almost working for 10 plus years, 11, I mean, 12 years, I did an executive MBA from IIM, Bangalore, because I knew that to go beyond this point of time, I need to understand many things which is not taught anywhere, right? That helped me to change my perspective of how to be part of an organization, how to manage businesses, what are the aspects of it, right? Okay. So I think that is what is. So I would say, what is your strength? Work always on your strength. Don't get swayed by what is happening amongst your peers. Learn from your peers, learn from your seniors. Okay. It's a journey. And career is a marathon. It is not a 100-meter sprint that you're done, right? So your entire Instagram, okay, right? Your IG, right? Instant gratification are actually, uh, I mean, they might be the sweet successes that you see in short term, but you have to think of the fact is it is a much more longer part of your life which you're going to spend, right? Inherently, at you might say 20, I have to work 20 years, or I have to work 10 years, or I have to work 30 years. Okay, but that is going to contribute to a significant part of your rest of your life. And the other aspect is, right, you actually are growing up. You become more responsible. Okay, you had the you are in the chatra chaya of your parents when you were in school, college, all those things, right? They took care of your needs. But as you get older, as you grow, you have to take care of yourself and potentially take care of others at some point in time.
Got it. Got it. This is detailed, kind of thought-provoking answer. So, just to understand, right, Rohit, I wanted to ask you, how can young professionals ensure that their short-term achievements are aligned with their long-term success?
Okay. So here they have to work on the internal and the external load box. So that it will prepare them to get ready with where I will be, facing such problem and how I can overcome. So here, this will enable them to have more focus on the goal, whichever they're getting into. And when it comes to the the short-term goal, they have to primarily focus on, you know, um, getting more connects because they are young professional. They are just starting. They are the initial stage of their life. Getting more connects in the sense like within the industry and beyond that as well for future. But according to their goal, when they're clear about things, they need certain mentors who can guide from time to time. And also they have to sacrifice certain things like the time, the commitment to the family, and they should be like always hungry to learn something new on a daily basis. And also try to execute the same. Like it's not about having the vision all the time, we have to translate it sometime to actions. So these are the areas which can help them to build the inner confidence through portfolio, the projects whichever they are working on in the upcoming days. And this should like whatever they are doing in the short term, this should be the moral boost to the upcoming initiatives that they are going to take, or the largest step that they are going to take for achieving that the long term goal which always they have dreamed for. And during this particular journey, they have like the obstacles like from the parents, or like where it will be like the stage where the like very friendly parents turn into like distancing them, then become very closer. This is the like evolution of life, like up compared to like the professional life whichever we are having. Personal life matters in the professional life. It's like the balance that they should focus. And if they are clear about their goals, and if they are going with whatever the path they want to go, which they have finalized during the initial stage of self discovery, this will enable them to reach there in no time. It's not about sticking to the time. Anything can happen. Wonders are happening nowadays in no time. So anything can happen because we live in the 21st century where things can be, things are like pretty modern, advanced, and any goal that we imagine that can be turned into a $1 billion project. So they just have to stick to the purpose which they're into, and when they're clear about things, things are clear.
So let's say, for example,
Mm.
somebody's career goal is to, let's talk from a college student's
Hmm.
perspective. He wants to become an entrepreneur, or he
Agreed.
wants to be, a gamer, and then he wants to make money and just chill and travel the world.
Mm.
So for that person, but he has to take up a job. Unfortunately, he has to take up a job to start off his career. For that person, how can he ensure what are his short term achievements? How can he ensure it is aligning to his long term goals?
So his long-term goal is to become an entrepreneur, to chill around, relax,
Yeah,
travel across the world.
entrepreneur and chill around are two
Different.
non
Yeah,
cohesive things.
yeah.
But what I'm saying
Mm-hmm.
is self-employed, travel
Mm-hmm.
around the world, be financially free and all of that, or probably an Instagram celebrity or something of that sort.
Mm. So currently, he have to focus on the needs. The want is going to be self-employed. He has to travel on, travel places and explore the world, meet new people,
Mhm.
hang around. So initially, they need to understand like what is going to be like my initial needs. Because initially, if they start working on whatever they want, they won't end up reaching there. It will be like a life of struggles. So it's just walking through the thrones in that way. To if they focus on the immediate needs and stabilize things, and ensure they are stable for the next few years. If I can take up this risk, even if I throw a job and focus on self-employment, do the consulting work for the other companies, if they are clear about that kind of goal, if I leave the job, they should start. So currently they have to focus on the needs, then comes the want.
Got it. Cool. So, Vishwajit, I want to come back. What role do internships and early job experiences play in setting and achieving career goals?
Yeah, that's makes very that adds very good value in the decision making. Till third year, we have their academic projects and industry projects, where students interact with each other, they understand each other. Okay, they get peer learning, they get to know to understand their skill levels compared to the toppers of the class. uh, when they enter into the internship, they started interacting with the experts in the industry, their managers and all. So they understood like what kind of knowledge these industry leaders are having, okay, and where they should go. Plus, they uh, get into the that company's work culture. Okay, they understand like how the company works. Okay, what are the work ethics they follow. So we see the student before starting the internships, their behavioral pattern, the attitude, their skill sets. So we see the dramatic change after 6 year or 1 year, 6 months or 1 year after they come back, completing their internships. We change a tremendous change in their personality, in their skill sets, in their thought process. So I think that's best part. Internship is the best part to get into the industry. So that's why we have this very famous module, that's internship plus PPO. So we invite the recruiters in the last year to select our students for the internship role. So being at autonomous institute, we have a 6 months internship thing in our curriculum. So companies come, they conduct their regular process, and they shortlist our students for the internships. So our students join the internships in 7 semester or 8 semester. So minimum duration is 16 weeks, 6 months. That can be extended to 1 year, and that's add real value to their personality, to their skill sets, to their thought process. So after 1 year, we saw like they are very groomed, ready to join the company. And again, companies are very happy with that. Like they get day one billable candidates on the first day of joining. So it's a win-win situation for us and for the recruiters. Additionally, we have very open culture in the Vishwakarma group. Like in VIT, we emphasize on the co-curricular and extracurricular activities. So VIT is known for their club culture. We have around 60 to 70 different clubs, and they are operated by the students community itself. Plus, we have a good hackathon culture. So we push our students to participate in the different hackathons and the technical contest. So that really helps them to shape their skill sets, their career, their personality. Here I see one thing. If you have good decision making skills, you can set your short term and long term goals very correctly. uh, we get students from the nuclear families where hardly they have any siblings, so of course their parents influence their decision making. uh, I see if students is selected for some or other project or the company, they wanted to discuss that with the parents. And if their parents says no, then they communicate that to us, like the parents are not happy with this and that, so we wanted to reject that. So we tell them to develop their own thought process, okay, basically. So if you learn to take a decisions in early life, in your college days, then you become a good leader, and you progress in your career. That's our observation in last 10 years. So of course we tell parents like, let their boys and girls to take their own decisions. That's the first thing. Second thing, the kind of role models these generations are having, okay, like they are very much influenced by the Instagram and YouTubers, okay, basically. So if they are into the engineering field, of course their role model should be someone great who had did very great in the engineering field, industry leaders and all. So that's the first thing. And being into the engineering field, their ultimate goal should be to excel in the field where they're working. That can be a mechanical engineering, civil engineering, software engineering, or the semiconductor, whatever the field they are working in. The money, position, pride, that always will come to them if they work hard in that industry, in their respective field. But I see the end goals are something different in today's generation. Like all wanted to have money, fame, and all. And again, all they wanted to do it in a very short span of time, like within a 2 years or 5 years, they wanted to become a manager in the industry. They wanted to have everything they wanted to have, like the home, the car, the luxury, the vacations, and all. So they don't understand, like it takes time, it's a gradual process. So of course we introduce them to the industry leaders, to the alumni. We call some social workers. We have so many social clubs there, so through that they interact with very social workers, okay. So they hear their experiences, like how they struggled to achieve their goals and all. So as Gautam said, experience of the internships, experience of the industry project makes a difference. And we have seen uh, there is a I would say, like the students personality changes very differently with the 6 months industry project and the internships. And they get a direction to get into the industry.
So, what you're saying, summarizing it, right? So, not listen to parents when you're setting your short term goals or long term goals. Because often I see that parents are very well intentioned, but always not very well informed. And you want to take advice from people who are very well informed. If they happen to be well intentioned, fantastic. But if they are very well informed, obviously their advice should be a matter of concern. And that way, internships kind of give them a sneak peek into the leaders they want to become into, so that their goal setting is a little away from the whole parenting thing, because parents tend to be emotionally involved. And one very good thing that I read somewhere is that parents love you so much that they will do anything for you except let them be yourself. So that is something that I feel. And what you said kind of alludes to it. And in terms of role model, one of the reasons we started this whole podcast initiative is because we want to get insights from people who've been there, done that, and who are living that life.
Yeah.
Somebody who is himself a college dropout, but because he became a YouTube star, cannot teach people how to upskill.
Actually,
He cannot teach people how to upskill or where to upskill, because he has not done it himself. So he's just promoting something. He should probably teach them how to become a YouTuber, or probably teach them how to, become an influencer, or probably teach them how to learn all these editing by yourself. That is something that he can teach. He cannot teach, you learn Python, you learn data science in ABCD website, and then you will get a job, because he has never got a job. He'll never know it. So that is my whole funda when we started. And if you look at the program also, we say that we want to talk to people who've been there, done that, and who are living that life currently, to give you advice than from people who are just talking about it.
See, just one point on internship. I mean, we talked about all of you guys talked about the third year internship, right, which is structure. But what we have seen is some people again. I mean, obviously this is where the parent part comes in.
Uh-huh.
Okay, where typically at the end of first year or second year they say, okay, they reach out to their network and say, "Hey, my son or daughter has got 2 months of vacation. Is there anything where they can come and spend some time?" Okay, so we've had parts where we have people come and spend 6 weeks, 8 weeks just doing the thing. We give them different kind of challenges, right? Recently, one of my colleagues' daughter, she was the student. She wanted to do a thing. Then someone else came in, right? We gave them, I mean, like, so in part of the strategy organization, we said we want to go and figure out a bunch of companies, what are they doing. So this became a very very different research kind of a
Mhm.
project. Okay, from an organization perspective, obviously we got some capacity for people, but more importantly, we also got a very different perspective as to what these people think, right?
Mhm.
When they went about approaching it. Okay, correct. I think that way, having the mechanism of creating this end of first year, end of second year kind of internship programs also would would be opportunities for them to do shorter stints, but start getting this thing, because at the end of the third year or the third year internship, right? A lot of times is also tied to the fact is, alright, I have to get placed. I have to join the right kind of company for my internship. Yeah, that kind of pressure comes in on college, especially in the engineering side.
Mhm.
So at least we have seen that getting people even early in their 3 year or 4 year curriculum, coming in, spending a month or two, okay, helps them get a different perspective of as to what do they want to do, right? Okay.
Absolutely. This is a very interesting part. Actually, you get hands on, probably a very small stint. It, but do companies have this formalized program, or is this only for kids with influence or with
So the
connections?
see, if you see this part of it, like even like, I mean, as simple as this, we do this with Christ,
Mhm.
right? Christ College MBA, right? So uh, they have a slightly longer term. I mean, MBA colleges have usually have short stints
Mhm.
internship, right? Because it's a 2 year program in total, so which
Mhm.
means that at the end of first year they have to do something, 2 months all this, right? Which is what it is. So that way we have. Then the other part is obviously left to the company as to people write to us saying that, like, a lot of times we get mails from the even from IIT, IIMs and all those. I mean, especially IITs and other engineering colleges, right, top colleges. People writing saying that I want to do this same and end of first year. Okay, I'm available for 6 to 8 weeks. Is there something that you can want to do? Okay. So we have put together probably some kind of program today where we let people come at different times and do this one. Okay. Incidentally, we also realized that uh, some of the folks from abroad. Okay. Now they, especially us being a fintech and
Mhm.
I mean, obviously we've kind of uh, become a bit well known now, right? So actually, sometime back, I had someone from Spain reach out to us
Mhm.
saying that they wanted to understand the space because fintech is more popular in India next to US, but Europe is still early, right? So there was actually a college professor. He said, "I want to run a program for my students. Would you have opportunity where they can work remotely?" Okay. For us, it was simple, right? I mean, I said we just look at the opportunities. We don't understand the market, so use that opportunity to understand how does banking work in that market, or what's the payment trends and all this, right? So it kind of was a win-win equation. So that way, you again, like I said, right? You always keep evolving the way you do things, right? Look for ways to kind of build out. I mean, even the element, if I just take the case of the Vishwakarma Institute of VIT, right? A lot of these students will go abroad to study,
Yeah, that's a trend
correct?
nowadays. Yeah.
Okay. Now they could always basically have also do partnership with some of the colleges to say us, give a remote as to what does it mean to do a master's. Yeah, or what does it take to just how do you write your presentations, essays? Okay, so those are things which are there.
Got it. So I also wanted to touch upon, so when you choose colleges for recruitment, right, Ram? So how do you choose colleges? Because I see a disturbing trend. So I wanted to touch upon it, and then we'll go. How do you choose colleges? What are your key parameters when you choose colleges?
See, I think largely we've gone on the fact is okay. I mean, our decision making was first based on constraint.
Okay.
Okay, we didn't have too much of capital to spend and all those things. We are not a known brand. Okay, so we focused on colleges in Bangalore. Okay,
Mhm.
then given the experience of some of the folks in the company and all this, right? We kind of landed saying that these are the 3 or 4 colleges that we want to go to. Okay,
Mhm.
and one of the reasons we looked at the part was also we said it is good to have people who are living in the city.
Okay.
Okay, which means the first job, okay, tendency to this thing. There'll be some set of people who want to be in the same city, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then looking at the fact is this one. But then what we realize is subsequently is at least 1/3 or 40% of the students in all these colleges are from outside. They are not from Bangalore per se, right? Okay, and it's kind of worked for us. So we have not really expanded. Last year we looked at we did one stint from an MBA perspective. We went once to IM and we said no, let's not do again because from a classification we land up in a stat C company. So the people who are available for us are the bottom of the thing pyramid, right? Okay, hmm. Which may not be the best of the breed. Okay, so we have stuck to from an engineering perspective stuck to the fact is
Go
colleges in
local.
go local. Okay, right? And this part of it, we have not really. Although we talked about doing. Even last year, we were thinking about the fact is, can we hire from Mumbai, right? Because we have office now in Mumbai, developments in Mumbai, and all this, right? We looked at does it make sense to set up something in Pune, okay, or set up something in Calcutta? Can we move the talent concentration in a Bangalore or a Noida or other thing, right? Yeah. But then largely became a challenge to say that who's there to anchor it. It became more of an internal, someone to head the program, who's there, than a part of it. So which is where, and then the other part is we also knew that. We were clear on our cost structures. We knew we're not going to be the top pay master. Okay, we'll be probably in the mid percentile of anywhere between 70 to 80% of the paid rate, right? Uh, we also realized to an extent is some of the top schools, right? People who come from there expect to work on certain things which are either technology complexity or the way they operate, right? I mean, if you get top talent from an IIT or let's say BITS, right? I'm better off giving them a problem to go and solve on their own than put them into the cocoon of an organization structure. There is a lead, a manager. Okay. Um, so then we realize that that does not really fly well. Okay. Given as we've kind of matured as an organization, right? So we made those choices to say that what will work for us well. Okay. It is not to say that someone from an IIT or a BITS or an is not the thing. The good candidates, right? They're all basically probably very good, right? Okay. But how do they fit into our organization's schematics? Okay. Can we make them succeed? Because the part is a lot of some of these days come with a clear expectation of being an entrepreneur at some more time. They have high intensity. They want to work and do something in 2 years and be out. Okay. Right. Now it works. I mean, like for us also, a lot of it is because it's B2B. We work with a lot of our customers. Okay. So there's also a certain rate at which things get done with them. Okay. What we build out. So, which is where largely looked at what is right for the organization. Okay. And then made choices based on that.
Got it, because the disturbing trend that I wanted to touch upon, right? All these companies, especially right now with no differentiation, right? They talk about going to the top campuses like IIT BHU or Delhi IIT or IIM and all of that, and then say that we go to these colleges for placements. It's a HR branding activity. Okay. But then what happens is they end up hiring chemical engineers, civil engineers from these IITs and put them on these technology projects. And my friends are product owners there. They say these guys are useless. We don't want IIT. We will much rather do with a local college or a regional college which has good technology talent than these people. We pay big bucks. They pay 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs in internship stipend, if you look at it annually. And then they get these chemical engineers and civil engineers. And also, there is a sense of entitlement, which is a common complaint saying that Gen Zs have a sense of entitlement. The driven Gen Zs don't have a sense of entitlement, but these, the lower rung, right? So I also believe that, what strategy you have done is a very, because you identified what kind of colleges where you would be a category A employer and then go to that kind of colleges, than from a sheer branding perspective or a KRA perspective, the HR wants a good raise. So what he does is he just goes and says, "Ki I have hired from IIT BHU, IIT Kanpur, IIT Delhi, and all of that." And then he gets civil engineers and chemical engineers from IIT Delhi and working on technology projects. He'd much rather go to probably a regional top college and then take it from there. So that is what is my sense.
As it's just a fact is we had a CHR only last year,
Okay.
the 13th year of existence. We hired our first HR manager after 8 years of existence. So between the founding team, we managed the HR function, we managed the recruitment. So we probably, from that perspective, we did not know. So one was it was not a KPI to be met as a HR professional.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and then we also probably did not have too much of industry experience to say that this is how the industry is doing it. So it was, in a way, it was probably our ignorance which helped us. Okay, made the choice which is probably good for us in the longer run than relying completely on professionals, right? Okay.
Got it. Got it. So, Rohit, coming back to you, right? So now, what kind of colleges do you target to get best talent? And across the board, what I've understood is it's better to hire a fresh talent with no baggage than probably a couple of years, 2 years talent. If you're going to go for experience, go for 4 5 years, or else it's better fresh talent. So, what kind of colleges do you target? What kind of students do you look for?
So we target the tier 2 and tier 3 colleges because the tier 1 comes with the, along with the professional. I mean, the professionalism, they come up with an attitude that we come from we are more. I mean, we are someone. So here, where when it comes to, compared with like, the tier 2 and tier 3, they have more, the honesty, the commitment to the work, rather than focusing on themselves. They focus on the work, the productivity. At the end of the day, what should I deliver? I mean, how much did I do? So here, we target that colleges, and also like we try to hire at a decent package. Then later on, what we do is like, we try to set up a different kind of work culture for them, not like the 9 to 5. We can be flexible, like right now we are having n number of benefits, like the e-stock option, the instapay, like the advanced payroll system, which we are having, like the upgraded version of the traditional routes. And here we will help them, to set a goal by themselves. As a company, it's a responsibility for us. For whomsoever fresher come, they are our responsibility to guide them, to understand them, where we can spend time in knowing them. But compared with IIT or the tier one, the colleges, what they think in a very different way. We can expect the quality, but at the same time, we can't expect the quality that we are expecting in terms of a person. So here the personal commitment matters here. That's the reason we go for such colleges where the candidate comes up with a lot of hunger. I'm not saying anything wrong with the Taiwan colleges, but yes, we find more commitment in the tier 2 and the tier 3. And during the learning curve, like these people are, very much keen in understanding things. Like if we are having some corporate training session, the rate of response is more compared with, like, even we have the a few candidates from the Taiwan, from the IIT Madras, and few other colleges across India. But comparatively, like we have identified these candidates as more, the value to the company, and the timeline they stick to the company is longer, the duration, and also they want to grow along with the company. They prioritize the company as the growth, followed by their personal growth, and that's how it's going on.
So, quick
Yeah.
question
Hmm.
here. Okay. So, saying that people from, just
Hmm.
out of, curiosity of doubling down on that. So, saying that these candidates from, tier one colleges are generally not committed, or probably is that their expectation for commitment is a higher salary, and the ones who are committed tend to go off there, and then the guys who are like in a tier one college also, you will have a tier three student. So that tier three student who is not committed, who is not very, who has a very lackadaisical attitude, that guy is the one who ends up coming to us, and that is why we kind of have that perception, is what I feel. And also, I work with a company here in HSR, a services company again. So they also stopped hiring from even tier one cities. They feel that tier 2 city talent has higher stickiness and has a longer propensity to work hard. So they go to engineering colleges. From here, they go to engineering colleges in Coimbatore and work with 3, 4 colleges there, and then bring the talent here. And one more thing that I've noticed is Bangalore has so many engineering jobs, but the number of engineering candidates that come out of Karnataka as a whole is fourth or fifth in the whole country. So that is one of the reasons that I see is this thing. And when you say tier 2, tier 3 colleges, tier 2, tier 3 colleges generally in tier 2, tier 3 cities, right?
Yes.
That's where you find the maximum stickiness.
Yes.
And I also wanted to understand, how about this, like services companies generally look for engineers. Now they've stopped going to these top colleges, not because they don't want to hire from there. Even if they go there, there are no people that are, interested in joining them, so they are better off going to a college. What they are doing is they are lowering their engineering ranking. And now that the product companies which are growing are also going to these tier 2 colleges, they are going to tier 3 colleges. Is it better for a services IT services company to stop going to a tier 3 engineering college than probably go to a tier 1 or tier 1 to 2 uh, commerce college, where they are teaching business analytics or programming, and then train those students so that they will come at a comparatively lower salary and will stick longer, and you can get better talent, right? You will get a
Hmm.
better student in tier 1 arts college in Bangalore than you will get in a tier 3 engineering college somewhere in interior parts of Karnataka.
Yeah. So as a company, we should be more conscious about the people than comparing the candidates from the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So what we do is we actually focus on the story of the candidate,
Mhm.
like what is beyond the books. What is their, where they come from, what is their passion, the purpose. So when we talk about, very recent recruitment, a guy is from Kota, and he is actually, in some tier 2 college, and the guy is like, having, almost like everything, like he is equivalent to the candidate whom we have interviewed with the IIT guy. So this guy was, aiming for something which we can't find from the IIT candidates. So it's about the people who, do great things, and if we pick the right candidate, it's all about, like, we as a company, we have framed the mission and vision based on how the community is getting benefited. It's not the growth of one person. So we always have to focus on the underserved communities globally, rather than, the tier 1. Right now, as we can see the scale, like the packages are, the recent average package from one of the IIT is like 8.5 lakh. So that is like the recent news which is like going viral again.
Was it IIT? So
Mm.
IIT and IIMs, right? They've
Yes.
also diluted their brand by opening multiple centers,
Mhm.
and especially by giving these affiliated course certifications, right? They've kind of diluted their brand. Now everybody, who's got a, IIT certified through upgrad or an academy is also somebody who is, calling themselves an IIT graduate.
Yes.
So that way the brand is getting devalued. And kind of understanding, right? I wanted to, because this is a very interesting space. Do you think, my question was simple key, do you think a B computer science graduate from a tier 3 college, or would you take, let's say, an MCA student from a commerce college in Bangalore, tier 1? So which would be a better choice for you in terms of stickiness and in terms of salary bracket and in terms of productivity?
So, in general terms, we can consider both the candidates. But when we are sticking to the goal, like we have to stick more into the candidate, like what kind of candidate they are, because everybody have their unique set of skills and the knowledge and the passion and the purpose of their life. So, focusing on that, like we can consider both the colleges, because at the end of the day, they are the talent who is ready to add some value to the growth of our organization. So here I would consider like both the colleges. Let's welcome them. Let's have them like let's have them like on ground, like working on things. I mean, by running, past even the past 6 years, we were running statistics. So over there, we understand like the people with more hunger, like are from the tier 2 and the tier 3 colleges, where they have not feeded much by the parents, like not spoon fed or something. They are coming from I mean, the schools, like they did their schooling in the government schools and everything. They have more hunger, like even though they are not technically, or like the communication is not good compared with other, I mean, other students who have studied in the convents and come down to engineering. They have more fire and the hunger and the set of vision and I mean, to set their own identity and the leave mark globally. So here what I feel is we have to focus on, the enthusiasm. There is training for everything.
Got it.
So
Thanks.
I have one point to make here. Uh, like uh, like the Gautam mentioned, the HRs are facing the bigger issue that of attrition. So our experience is something different. Uh, we at Vishwakarma Institutes we have a recruiters friendly placement policy, like one student one job. So once any students gets a placement, of course they cannot apply for the other jobs. Of course, there is a dream company offer, and some students gets that. But our experience is something different. Like when any students who did 6 months internships or 6 months industry project with some company, uh, we see a dramatic change in their thought process, their behavior, and their personality. So before applying for any company for placements, so they think twice. They study the website, they study the job profile, they study everything. So we hardly get any rejections after the results. Like I don't want to join this company, that company because I didn't like the role and all. Okay, so such kind of cases are almost not there in Vishwakarma institutes. Plus, students join the company and they leave after 6 months or 1 year, maybe because of the peer pressure, because of they cannot handle the work culture, the work pressure in the company. So we try to equip the students with the corporate environment well and before when they are studying into their third year and final year through the industry electives, through the industry projects and the internships. So we try to groom students to be ready to join the corporates. Okay, and because of that we get very good results. We get very good feedbacks from the industry, and because of that the recruits comes to us every year that um, to hire a new batch of students. So I think exposure to the industry environment through the various uh, activities, that can be a project, that can be internship, so that can be a simply shadowing activity for 10 days or 15 days to work with the industry leaders. That makes a huge difference in students understanding their thought process and all. And again, that helps companies to retain the talent basically. So students should expose to the various activities environment, especially industry environment, so that gives a real value.
Got it. No, no, I kind of want to, throw the floor open and, go over this. So, so, so what can industry and academia do in partnership that can help, you know, kids have, realistic career goals which are achievable and, should be taken from there. So, what do you think, Ram?
See, I think the most common complaint industry says is people who come from graduates are not employable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think the focus should be on the right means inputs on right kind of skill developments,
Mm-hmm.
because if you see the curriculum on many of the colleges also, right? Okay. Although they're supposed to be a computer science program, and but the depth of the program is not sufficient. So we talked about this part of the tier one, tier two, tier three. I mean, see, largely what we are focused on the fact is the quality of the curriculum. Okay, as to what's the level of skills that the people come with. Okay, how much of effort has to be put in. Okay, like we've largely hired as a product company. We are not. We are obviously looking at good background in understanding programming. Okay, right. So from that perspective, we are focused on the kind of the course curriculum which is there. How relevant is it? Okay, the part of it, and what kind of what kind of projects do they do? Okay, within college. I think what can help is, like, again, every business, every industry needs a very different. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now at a part of the, I mean, even if you look at the so I think from that perspective, probably a better collaboration of tie-ups, right? I mean, like the COEs, consultants which are there, right? Where companies are able to do that part of it. Okay, then it helps us to kind of get better skilled. Okay, perspective. I mean, just to see the part of it, we do run because we deal with all financial data. Okay, right? We have the part that we need to have. We have processing teams, right? Okay. Now here we have gone after BCom graduates or this thing parts of it, right? Okay. But then what we went in, we looked at the fact is a couple of colleges in Shimoga. We looked at a tie-up with them to say that as part of your curriculum, can you focus on some of these aspects slightly more? Okay. Right. It's not just the part of the thing, right? That helped us to identify people, get candidates from them. But then we obviously committed to the fact is we will hire so many people on an annual basis. Correct. Okay. Now, which was the so it is not just about technology. It can be on different aspects that you look at as a organization, right? And our colleges, like I saw the fact is, I was very, I was just looking at the VIT courses and all this, right? I was very surprised to see that there is a specific programming on piping design in VIT.
Mm-hmm.
That is the
Okay, right. Now, the little part is how many colleges offer this. Then I was thinking about why is it that a Pune company is offering piping design. Then I suddenly realized that a lot of the manufacturing, okay, is still very strong in Pune.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The manufacturing will hold true in Pune, manufacturing might hold true in Chennai. So sometimes colleges also have to see that what is it which is in their industry that they want to attract to, right? What can they do better? Like, I mean, automotive is a big play, right? In Chennai, in Pune. Okay, all the factors. If I see this part of it, I do know factors. I think Shastra has a tie-up with Microsoft. They've done a tie-up with Google. Okay, on some of those incubation centers to they basically have people equipped from that perspective. So one approach is to kind of academia to have a generic competency programs, right? I mean, like in case of Rohit also, right? It's more garment and apparel. It's a very different thing. Maybe there's a partnership with NIFT, okay, National School of Fashion Design, right? Or there might be specific ones, right? Okay. Or chemical engineering where your dyes matter, okay, right? The composition of it. So that would be a very, very specific part of it. So I think colleges also have to kind of say, this is my distinct USP, okay, that I offer you. Hmm. And then identify companies because then that becomes so you're kind of co-investing with the company, okay, or co-creating certain things, which obviously always adds value. I mean, we also do this with our customers, right? Where you go and co-create something, but in the same manner, academia can look at this part so that it improves the quality of the students who come out of those colleges.
Got it. So, interestingly speaking, right? So one thing that I was astonished when I started working with Vishwakarma is that the level at which they've planned. So they have kind of all these things. So basically, there is an industry elective which is going to be an industry paper, so which is going to make them more focused toward, let's say, fintech, okay, or apparels for that matter. They have an industry elective, and then they have a center of excellence set up for companies that can set up a center of excellence because they want a dedicated pool of talent coming in. So they give industry projects. So it's your tools, your technologies, the platforms that you use, and all of that. Infra students, processes, faculty are there. So the students in third year kind of come to this place and work on your projects and kind of get their hands dirty and all of that. And by the end of third year, this person is well versed with your technologies that you use, and is also theoretically. So the guy who takes up the elective is the one who comes to the center of excellence. The guy who comes to the center of excellence is the one who attends your interviews and is the one who becomes your intern. And then the intern eventually becomes your employee. By the time he becomes your employee, he's as good as 1.5 to 2 years experience. So there is no this babying part. So in companies, especially where companies say ki, I don't have that much appetite for talent because I cannot put in a COE. So then what happens is they say these are the skill sets that I am interested in. Then they point towards a training company. I'll come and train the students, especially on this technology, and the interview will be conducted on this technology, and from that is what the students are chosen. So that way, it's a model for companies that have a huge appetite for talent, as well as for a company that is small but not like, say, I cannot set up a center of excellence, or I cannot invest capex or any more of that sort, right? So that is what is the thing that has happened. So what do you think about that, Ram?
I think it made sense. See, it made sense because it see anything that brings about better, I would say, productivity, okay, right, which accelerates your skill sets, right, early on. Okay, so yeah, that's one part is very domain specific. The other I mean, just the fact is, like, when we do these inductions, we also make them people understand domain. Okay, what's the part of it, what is the problem statement that is solving. Okay, so I think from that perspective, partnerships like this will help. Like you said, obviously there are large companies who will, let's say, hire 100 people or 200 people every year, right? Okay, there a COE might make sense. In some cases, it might make sense to just set up a industry cluster. Okay,
Got it.
right. I mean, like like fintech as a cluster can be set up,
Uh-huh.
where you have a set of companies who are, because most of them will not be very large, but they will look at the talent, right? Okay, so they'll hire. So that's part of it, right? That comes into play. Okay, so it could be like that. You can basically take both models of doing a one is to one kind of a relationship, or you create a
Many to
segment or a
many.
cluster. Yeah, cluster, many to many.
So multiple colleges pull in, multiple companies pull in, and then that
See,
becomes
that's what
like
or, you know, one company can choose, but I'm selecting the segment. Okay, right. See, because even if you look at, if I take uh, chemical engineering, okay, it's very very specialized, correct? But then you have refineries, you have paints, you have other industries, correct? Even from a chemical perspective, right? Now each of them may be this thing. Now you could either say that the market is not big enough, but let me create programs which are tuned for that set of companies. Okay, or you could say that let me do and tie up with maybe a Reliance Petrochemical, right? Reliance, the thing, and just do a specific one for them.
got it, got it. So Rohit, what do you think about this whole COE thing, or how do you currently solve your need for skilled and focused specialized talent, and what is your thought on this
So currently we have like the colleges offered curriculum are very generalized. There are very few universities which are offering the specialized courses in certain things which are much needed. And apart from that, like the people are doing the certification courses, so that is more specific. That comes after after the college education. So here, what we do is, as a company, we will be, having the candidates on board. We will be training them like three months of probation will be like the rigorous training period where we will be having the industry stalwarts coming from other companies and giving the like the 7 days training and like a lengthy training to or the workshops to understand, like they need to understand like how the industry is actually looking and what are the technology which is advanced on a daily basis, and also the current project which the company have taken up and how we can this talent can be made use of and benefit, like it's a mutual benefit. So this is what we do. And apart from that, for the textile industry, what we have done is here, when it comes to the weavers, we have the major the problem where the time where the um, it's actually the people we deal with, the blue collar workers. So here, again, there is a skill gap with the blue collar workers where we have to recruit people from the places like where the people don't even have a livelihood, like the places from Kumbakonam, Tamil Nadu, and the people come from Orissa, the UP. So it's a very different market compared with whatever the students are having in terms of like the white collar jobs. It's a very difficult task to have or find the quality stitchers, the weavers for that one particular machineries whichever we deal with. So again, like we have collaborated with the government, the Ministry of Textile, in collaboration with the state governments. We have all the skill development centers which will train them for free of cost, and it will be like we can our company can work closely with them for the particular period of time, and we can pay a basic pay, like a training the training during the training period, like we will be paying the basic pay, and then we take them on board. So again, we make them work under the supervisors, like who are in the industry for the past 15 years. So that's the place where they get trained as an apprentice, and step by step they grow up. So the similar kind of module is followed here as well in the industry, like where they start as an associate and followed by promoting as a the upcoming roles like a lead, and this is how the complete training that we are doing at the moment.
got it,
And
got it.
apart from that, like there are a bit of gap compared with the job employment that we have in the IT industry or the other, I mean, the business development industry, I mean, the business development market. So here, when it comes to the NIFT and the textile engineering, they the people are not having much of the opportunities. And when it comes to the packages that are offered, it's like not even equivalent to half of whatever we are offering in the IT segment. So recently, during the roundtable discussion at the, I mean, at this happened at BharatTex 2024 with in the presence of Ministry of Commerce, like the Minister Piyush Goyal. So where they were like discussing about the skill sets, I mean, that the candidates are lagging, and the internship of, I mean, the type of internship or the availability of the internship are less in our country compared with the other jobs when it comes to the textile industry. So here, our company, as I have mentioned, like the tech driven approach, here we are specifically focusing on having the NIFT and the textile company, I mean the textile colleges on board, where they can, showcase their skills, because we believe that, like, rather than working with a very good designer, the package whichever we are going to offer for 15 candidates, let's say like we are spending over for 15 candidates, let's say like we are spending around 1 crore, and with that 1 crore we can have a, one particular designer, one designer. But rather than going for that approach, we try empowering the candidates, and that's the place where we need to, give a lot of our time. It's the cost of the company as well, but still it's going to work in the long run, where the candidate will be groomed and they can become the next the designer whomsoever we are going to take today. It's like we believe in the empowerment that is taking place, so that's what we follow.
Got it. Fantastic. So it is great. So I now want to, come to a interesting section. Okay. So which is, I like to call it decision dilemmas. When there are two equal opportunities, both are good, not one better than the other. It's like, you got to choose, I get a very weird example in my mind, but then I'll skip it. So if you have to choose between, I let your imaginations run wild. So, as in, if you have to choose between one of the two, which one would you choose? Equally good, not necessarily, better than other. So, what would be? So, it's going to be quick fire, no explanation. Just you can tell me which is your option. I'll first go with Ram. Okay. So, immediate skill acquisition or long term skill development,
Immediate.
job stability or new opportunities.
New.
You've been 15 years in one company, and I like the point.
And
So, invest in specialized training or broad based education.
see, this is very topical. Depends on the part. Early stage, I would say specialized. Later stage, broad based.
Okay. Rapid promotions or steady career growth.
Steady career growth.
Okay. Like, I get different answers. So, balance work experience or, get further education.
I would say get further education.
I think education keeps opening doors even as you
Yes.
progress through the career.
Yep.
Got it. So, Rohit, for you, focus on developing technical skills or soft skills.
It should be balanced.
I know it's
Okay.
balanced. That's why
Yeah.
I'm asking you.
Okay.
So, can you tell me which one would you still like a little bit of a preference?
So if you want to be a developer, you need technical skills. But if you wanna, be the salesman, you need to have the blend of both. But at the end of the day, both plays a major role. According to me, I go with technical skills.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted first. So, you should aim for leadership roles early in your career or build expertise first.
Build expertise first.
Emphasize on networking or skill building early in the career.
Both matters again. Um, it's a typical question, but we have to focus on skill. Then comes networking.
Got it. Seek mentorship within company or external advices.
Initially we can start with internal, I mean the internal mentors, like within the company. Then once we grow, we can seek mentorship from external.
Prioritize high salary or job satisfaction.
Job satisfaction.
Got it. So, Vishwajit, I'll come to you. Okay. Uh, Interdisciplinary studies or deep specialization.
It's interdisciplinary studies.
Promote internships during studies or focus on academics.
Promote internships.
Partner with local industries or seek global collaborations.
Seek for global collaborations.
Academic rigor or practical experience.
Practical experience.
Faculty development or student focused initiatives.
Student focus initiatives.
Yours was easier comparatively. Okay, great. So, we kind of, gathered here, the whole need of this initiative is to bridge the gap between academia and the industry, and we all want to make India more employable, have more employable graduates, and how we can do it, how we can that solves the problem for industry, in terms of, because we are always in a crunch for talent. So that solves the problem for the industry. And second, as a whole, for institutions, it kind of helps them to have candidates. So we wanted to have a positive contribution from both of you regarding this thing, in terms of what we can do. It could be as small as a small pep talk, or a mentorship, or it could go to an internship or an offer. So what can we do positively towards this to to broaden this initiative? Ram, I'll go with you first.
See, I think you kind of talked about all. Okay, I think it is good to have more corporate engagements.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and it can be from different aspects, right? It is whether it is, let's say, the product, right? The technology part of it, right? How do you kind of build what do you build, right? Could be understanding the domain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it could be about functions, various functions within the organization, right? Okay, this thing. It is definitely then creating a program for internships. Okay, and eventually, typically, wha- uh, I mean, the longer term internships typically are structured towards placement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, correct. I think from that perspective, these are usual industry practices.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it is about at least we have been very fortunate, right? I think today we work on close to around 8 colleges. Okay, and our programs have been successful because I mean we have put our, but the college has also been very supportive of this process.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, although we have not done anything specific. Okay, I just think that most of the colleges have kind of started understanding the being in Bangalore, being having so many software companies out here, right? Okay, they've kind of understood how their curriculum needs to kind of evolve a lot,
Mm-hmm.
so that you are able to get the right kind of skills built out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it is. But I would say we could do more. We could definitely. I think recently we did a session. I think Christ was doing this part about for the MBA programs. They wanted to understand fintech industries,
Mm-hmm.
so they invited us to come and talk to their students, and very specific. I mean, quite a bit of they also had a because they had a very specific like a elective course on fintech, right? So they had the professor knew the subject well enough. Okay, and it was a very interesting conversation. I mean, we kind of got I got surprised by the level of understanding these students had. Okay, right. So that's a part of it. So which is where NIBM in Pune again, National Institute of Banking Management, they run very specific programs. They've kind of gone and evolved to understand changing things like crypto, okay, currencies and other parts of it. So the part. So I think the on the I mean I heard I'm talking about the student development, but I think faculty development is equally important. If the faculty is not really aware as to what's happening, right? But what may be even interesting is to even think about the fact is as companies run internship programs, right? Even have faculties as observers. What do we teach them in those 3 months programs and all those things, right? Which are this thing, and what is it that they are not teaching? Okay, so that could be itself aspects that can come into play. So I think it is kind of it is got to be I would say well-rounded kind of a program. But then also the what we have seen is there are always these things that you say for sound bites.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right? And then there are things that you get serious about and do it, which takes rigor, right? It takes rigor, it takes commitment. Okay, and then you have to follow through and then take feedback, see what's happening, improve it. It probably takes a couple of 2 or 3 iterations of the program to really start yielding results. Okay, right. So that a lot of times it's not the photo op.
Got it. Got it. So if I understand it right, probably you will help, you know, if the faculty are willing to work with you, you probably help structure an elective around that, and then also give students a general overview on fintech, how to plan for a career in fintech, something around that. So that would be a good starting
Yeah.
point, right? An industry elective and all of that. So Rohit.
So here, what I feel is currently almost all the companies are engaging with the colleges across India. But here, what I feel is like the based practice is kind of lagging. So if the company can, rather than having the internship, like half of the startups which I've noticed in Bangalore, they are having the interns on board and uh, driving them to get the projects done rather than sitting and training them, like spending time on understanding the capacity or the caliber of the candidate, where we can run one candidate in cross-functional teams, and like a number of things can be done if they can invest a bit more time and the resources in that candidate. So that's what not kind of happening at the moment. That's how I feel. And this is the evidence-based practice that we can introduce. And rest of the things, like right now the government have introduced a number of schemes to promote the youth, either in terms of like the entrepreneurship. Like the awareness is more compared with whatever we had in the previous, the past generations. So here, with the kind of schemes the government is offering, the candidate can do wonders within the country. But there is much more awareness needed for the schemes to the colleges. So right now the colleges have started setting a bridge between whatever the government have as an initiative to empower the candidates in terms of employment. There are special positions which are open. It's not only the corporate employment, but also like the government, they can become a government employee through the placement cells. So there are a number of schemes that's been introduced at the moment. So right now the college have emerged as the bridge between the government and the students, but it can be done a bit more by engaging all the three parties. At the end of the day, the corporate is contributing towards the government. And here what I feel is like if we can set more the kind of workshops that are like, let's say the candidate is doing an internship, and it's not about just brushing up the skills. The candidate should also get exposed to what is happening outside the box, like apart from the job role. Like this is the particular stage where they can get to know about things and set a goal that can help them to drive. It's not about the long term or the short run. It's about their journey, how they want it to be. So this is the time where they have to invest in themselves, and they need the proper mentorship in this fast forward world. They need like the industry stalwarts to get engaged. Right now the industry talks are going between the colleges, but I still feel that like the more things can be done for the students community, apart from like the colleges or the community program, whichever they are running. We as a company can run some community program where we can introduce them to the corporate world. This is how the world looks like in the short run. And like if you want to choose any particular, it can be made into a different industry. Like under training we can make it as a different industry. But at the end of the day, the goal should be like the candidate should be well aware about what is happening in this country, and in the business. It's not limited to IT or like the fintech or any service based company. Like there are n number of opportunities, like let's say like luxury ayurvedic products. Like there are multiple industries which the candidates can work on. Even in Gujarat, the half of the diamond companies are having the uneducated people working under the company. I worked for a diamond conglomerate last year, so where we had like 8,000 employees. Like apart from like out of that 8,000 employees, like 90% of the people are uneducated, but they are the artisans. So that company can give way to the company which is into the art and culture. So this is the kind of bridging we can do. Like they can get introduced to the industry, like across. We can set up like the community or some kind of the COE, as you mentioned, where they can get introduced to the things.
Got it. Got it. Perfect. Thanks. Thanks, Rohit. Thanks, Ram. Thanks, Vishwajit. So it was a wonderful discussion.